let's roll back the clock. Not 500 years, not 5,000. I'm talking about before time even existed. Before gravity, before the word before had any meaning. There was nothing, just a presence. Not a bang, not a storm, a voice, a will, God. He wasn't bored, he wasn't lonely, he was just ready. And then he spoke, "Let there be light." Boom. That was it. The spark that started everything. This wasn't some random cosmic accident. It wasn't a fluke. It was precise. It was on purpose. First came light, then day and night, sky and sea, mountains, oceans, stars. So many stars. And then something different. Not animals, not birds, us, humans. Made from dust, brought to life with breath, stamped with the image of the one who made us. But here's the twist. This whole creation, it wasn't just for show. It had function. It had meaning. God planted a garden, not a wild jungle, a place of order and beauty. 2 people, 2 trees, 1 rule. And yeah, you'd think we could follow that, but we didn't. The serpent shows up. Not just a snake, something more. And it whispers the oldest question. Did God really say? They take the bait, fruit in hand, a single bite. And just like that, everything changes. Innocence, gone. They hide, they cover themselves. They're afraid of the very one who made them. But God doesn't come with thunder or rage. He comes with a question. Where are you? Not because he didn't know, but because they needed to realize what had happened. So they're sent out of the garden, but they're not destroyed. And from there, the unraveling begins. So now Adam and Eve are outside the garden, wearing animal skins God made for them, living east of Eden, trying to make a life work in a world that no longer works for them. They have 2 sons, Cain and Abel. Abel's a shepherd, Cain works the land. Both bring offerings to God. But for reasons we're not fully told, God favored Abel's. And Cain? He doesn't take it well. God even gives him a warning. Sin is crouching at your door, and it wants you. But Cain opens the door anyways. He invited his brother out into the field, and he kills him. The ground, Cain's own field, cries out with Abel's blood, and God hears it. Cain's marked and sent away, and things just keep going downhill from there. People multiply. They build cities. Write music, forge tools, culture grows, but so does corruption. Then comes one of the strangest moments in the Bible. The sons of God saw the daughters of men were beautiful, and they took them. We'll have to do a video on this later. It's strange, it's intense. Whatever it was, something divine crossed into something human. And the results? The Nephilim, giants, warriors, legends. The world becomes violently twisted, and God, who has once called it all good, looks at his creation and grieves. He decides to start over, not out of rage, but sorrow. But there's one man, Noah. He's not perfect, but he walks with God. So God tells him to build an ark, big enough for his family, for animals, for a future. Noah builds, people laugh, years go by. Then, one day, the skies open, the earth splits, and the flood comes. Water covers everything. The world resets in judgment. But floating above the chaos, Noah, his family, and life preserved in a wooden box. When the flood ends, they step out onto a new ground. And the first thing Noah does, he builds an altar. God responds with a covenant, a rainbow, a promise. Never again will I flood the earth like this. It should be a fresh start, but humanity doesn't change that easily. Sin survived the flood too. And before long, we're building again, but not homes, a tower, in defiance. After the flood, God told his people, you need to spread out and cover the earth. Instead, people gather in a place called Shinar, and they've got an idea. Let's build a city. Let's build a tower that reaches the heavens. Let's make a name for ourselves. It's not about getting closer to God, it's about replacing him. So they start stacking bricks, but God sees what's happening. If they can do this together, there's no limit to what they'll try next. So God comes down and he confuses their language. And just like that, the tower stops. They scatter. Nations are born. The place is called Babel, confusion. But right after that, the story zooms in, picks one man, Abram. No land, no kids, no influence. But God gives him a call. Go, leave everything you know. I'll show you where. I will bless you. I'll make you into a great nation. And through you, all the families on earth will be blessed. That's the promise. Abram goes. He walks and waits. Years go by, still no children. So his wife tries to shortcut the plan. She gives her servant to him, and they have a son. But God says, that's not the one. Eventually, when Abraham is nearly 100 years old and his wife is 90, God tells them they'll have a child. His wife laughs. And then Isaac is born. The impossible becomes reality. But then comes the hardest test. God tells Abraham, take Isaac, your son, and offer him as a sacrifice. So Abraham climbs a mountain, prepares the altar, raises the knife, and just before he brings it down, God stops him. There's a ram caught in some thicket, a substitute, a pattern. God provides. Isaac grows up and has two sons, Esau and Jacob. Jacob's the younger, the trickster. He cheats his brother, runs away. He dreams of a ladder between heaven and earth. And God reminds him, I'm still with you. Later, Jacob literally wrestles with God at night. And he walks away, limping, but blessed. He gets a new name, Israel, which means one who wrestles with God. Jacob has 12 sons. From them, a nation begins to form. And one of those sons is about to be sold. That son is Joseph, the dreamer. He's his father's favorite, wears a special coat, has big dreams about his brothers bowing down to him. So they do what jealous brothers would do. They throw him in a pit, sell him to slave traders, and fake his death. Joseph ends up in Egypt. He serves in a wealthy man's house, does everything right, then gets falsely accused and thrown in prison. He's stuck, forgotten, but not by God. Joseph interprets dreams, even while locked away. Eventually, Pharaoh has a dream no one can explain. Cows, grain, famine. Joseph is called up. He cleans up and he nails the interpretation. 7 years of abundance, then 7 years of famine. Pharaoh is impressed. He promotes Joseph second only to himself in all of Egypt. And just like that, Joseph goes from being a prisoner to the prime minister. The famine hits back in Canaan. Joseph's brothers come to Egypt for food. They don't recognize him, but he recognizes them. He tests them, watches, waits, and then finally, he breaks down. I and Joseph. They're stunned, terrified, but Joseph doesn't seek revenge. He embraces them, brings the whole family to Egypt, and gives them the best land. Later, when their father Jacob dies, the brothers panic again. But Joseph tells them, you meant it for evil. God meant it for good, to save many lives. The family is saved. The line of promise continues. Joseph lives a long life, and before he dies, he says one more thing. God will come for you, and when he does, take my bones with you. Even in death, he knows Egypt isn't the end of the story. So, that's how Genesis ends. Not with fireworks, not with closure, but with a coffin. Joseph is buried in Egypt, but his bones, they're not just bones. They're a promise, a reminder that this is not home. God's people are growing, but they're not a nation yet, and they're not free. And they're about to enter a very long, hard season of slavery, silence, and struggle. But the promise lives on. God hasn't forgotten. He's still the one who made the stars from nothing, still the one who parted the seas in his mind before they even existed. And soon, he's going to speak again. But this time, it won't be with a whisper. It'll be with fire and a plague and power. A world made, a rebellion sparked, a covenant established, a family chosen, a legacy preserved. From Eden to Egypt, from Adam to Joseph, from chaos to covenant. This was Genesis, and next, Exodus. Pray for me, and I for you. Keep looking up. If that stirred something in you, don't ignore it. Wayfarer's Chase is where scripture becomes story, and story becomes truth. A world-class dive into biblical lore, crafted for thinkers, seekers, and believers who want more. Subscribe now, and step into the original quest.